Welcome to Good Morning Football, presented by Audi. We are live in New York City. Happy Tuesday. It's April 10th. Kay Adams here alongside Peter Schrager and Reggie Bush in the building.
I'm back again.
All week
keep
long.
getting the invite back every day, and you guys just can't get rid of me.
What's up, Reggie? And good morning to you too, Kay.
Yeah, I guess.
Kyle's here.
I guess he decided to show up. Oh, I'm not talking to Kyle. I don't know if you didn't know that.
What happened, Kay? What do you mean?
On my birthday, he embarrassed me greatly, and I will not refer to him as Mr. Wonderful or Kyle Brent. He's just.
You can't.
I can clarify this quickly. If you missed this, I spoke to Kay, someone she's a fan of. His name's ᴜᴜᴇᴅ.
You told him he was my everything.
And I think he is. Now, Kay, I think you should be thanking me. I can cancel Chris Hemsworth right now. I got him coming in to talk too. If you talk to Wonder Woman about me, I would be thanking you, Kay.
Kyle, why don't you tell everyone who's on our show today? Because it's outrageously a great lineup.
It's pretty cool. We have two Hall of Famers, the Bus and the Goat. Jerome Bettis and Joe Montana. I did not say Tom Brady. No, I did not. Twitter, have at it. Jerome Bettis and Joe Montana right here at the table.
The GOAT is in reference to Joe Montana, not Tom Brady.
Yes, I think it's in reference to that dude from This Is Us, but Kay disagrees.
Hashtag lead blog.
Lead blog.
We got some news, guys. The Colts among the teams starting the offseason workouts yesterday, and we heard from quarterback Andrew Luck discussing his health. Take a look.
No, I've not picked up the Duke and started throwing it yet, and I don't want to skip steps. I'm trusting the process that I'm in right now very, very much. I'm trusting myself in this process, and when the time is right, I'll pick it up. There is a timetable, but I'm not going to share it with you guys. And again, I'm very, very confident and very, very optimistic that I am going to be absolutely fine and come back better than I was. I think I'll be a better quarterback, a better teammate, a better person. I'm very confident. Yeah, I have a goal. And I want to go into training camp without a governor on in my mind on anything and feeling really, really good. So as far as participation in this offseason, we'll see what happens. I don't anticipate doing too much, or you guys seen me doing too much out there. But I really want to be ready for training camp without a governor on, if you will.
Okay, so he's not throwing, but he wants to be ready for training camp. There's some optimism there. You even use that word. As a Colts fan, I'm not happy to hear this, but at this point, I feel like I really just have to have faith. As an NFL player, as a guy in that locker room, as a guy like T.Y. Hilton, the only receiver there that has even caught a ball from Andrew Luck since they got rid of Moncrief and Philip Dorsett. Are you worried about this?
I think it's time to hit the panic button. I think definitely because the fact that throwing has not been implemented into his getting back process, that worries me because it's 15 months after surgery. It's not that hard to pick up a football and just toss it around even, and the fact that he hasn't even done that yet, and we're going into the next season, we're already going into OTAs and workouts and mini camps, and the fact that he's not doing that yet, because to be able to throw the ball is one issue, and then be able to take a hit on that arm is another issue. So those are all things that kind of you can't replicate that other than just going on the field and doing it.
Quickly, 2006, you're drafted. Same year Drew Brees gets signed to the Saints. Miami didn't want to sign him because he had a shoulder injury. How did you approach that, and how did the team sort of support him?
Well, I mean, we all weren't worried at all. I mean, there was no worry. Drew did everything the right way. Not to say that Andrew Luck didn't, but the doctors did a great job. The rehab process was amazing, and they got him back on the field as soon as possible without there being any further implications. So, we weren't worried at all, when it came to Drew.
Say trust the process, right? Like that's like a big term.
It's everywhere.
Sixers and now you have the Browns. But like, do you trust the process? It's been 15 months. Medical advancement is as high tech and as innovative as it's ever been in the history of the world. And we saw Cam Newton come back from a shoulder injury after 6 months, be on the field, and after about 8 months was back to himself. Seen Adrian Peterson come back from multiple ACL tears. In this day and age, in 2018, for a guy to not be able to throw a football 15 months after surgery, that is alarming. And as much as he's laughing and saying I'm optimistic, and as much as fans at home are like, Schrager, you're not a doctor. Who are you to weigh in on the medical advancement? He went overseas. He's tried multiple things. He's got a timetable. To not be able to pick up the Duke is what he's calling it. That's the actual official NFL football is worrisome. And again, I am not being a doomsday guy here at 5 minutes into the show, but I love Sterling Sharp. He was one of my favorite receivers of all time. Player. He played 6 seasons, had a neck injury, never took a field. I loved Joe Theismann as a quarterback as a kid. Had a knee injury. They said, okay, he'll come back eventually. okay, like 15 months in this day and age with the doctors we have and the medical advancement and the stuff overseas that is almost said in like hushed tones, they do some crazy stuff over there. Like, for him not to be able to throw a football, it is alarming.
It's alarming.
There's a lot of concerns. It's alarming. What do you make of the fact that they did trade down, though?
The fact that they traded down,
confidence,
you
right?
think that they are not taking a quarterback and they've got their guy, but...
Well, they still got Jacoby Brissett there, right?
Sure.
Yeah, he's not the franchise. Look, I love Sterling Sharp and Theismann too. I also love Peyton Manning, who had a neck injury and sat out a whole season, came back and was an unbelievable player. But the fact is, this is dicey as hell. And it's been nearly 70 weeks since he's played a football game. 70 weeks. And he said some things in that press conference were really heavy, too. He said, in the past, my self-worth, like as a human being, has been based on being ready for this team. And I don't think that's healthy for me. Now, you mentioned we're not doctors, we're not surgeons. We've all been in relationships, all right? And there's one thing that's alarming to me from that press conference. Reggie, I know you're a married man. You'll relate to this. Andrew Luck said, I'm very, very confident, very, very optimistic, and then said again, very confident. That's 5 veries.
What does that mean? I'm not
if you're
married.
trying to sell someone on something, I have said, I'm very, very sorry. This would be very, very special, honey, for me if I could go out and do this just this one night. That is when you're playing your very cards.
It's a very rare occasion.
Very, very, the double very K is when you're like, please believe me, you're throwing all your very feathers. That's alarming to me.
But okay,
And the fact that he has to,
no, come on.
And the fact that he has guys like J.J. Watt, Calais Campbell that are going to be coming after him, taking hits on that shoulder, it just makes you worry. Like, is he going to be back to the same Andrew Luck that we've all grown accustomed to seeing?
He was very, very good.
But even if he comes back and he is that Andrew Luck, there's other concerns that still remain, right? There's a lack of chemistry. What if this goes into August, and like I said, the only receiver he has any familiarity with is T.Y. Hilton? What about the fact that he'll come back maybe healthy to an offensive line that hasn't really been addressed? So hopefully in the draft, like, I keep thinking more and more, if Andrew Luck is there, grab Quentin Nelson, shore up that offensive line, and like maybe the Colts will have a way better.
He's got a new head coach and a new offense and everything. And he's throwing a mini football. We don't even have the Duke yet. It's dicey.
Enough on the Colts for now. More on Andrew Luck later in the show. But we got to move to the draft, and we're here in New York City, so let's talk about the Jets. Peter, you reported that last night there was a lengthy jersey that happened in dinner that happened in Jersey. What happened?
Yes, the New York Jets brass took Baker Mayfield out for dinner, and it wasn't just a cup of coffee. It was a long dinner where the top layers of the NFL's front office and ownership group were meeting with Baker Mayfield from the New York Jets in New Jersey. Long dinner, and this is not the first time they've met Baker Mayfield. Remember, the general manager on the first day of free agency, Mike McCagnon, was at Baker Mayfield's pro day. While everyone else was wheeling and dealing in their buildings, he was in Norman, Oklahoma. So there is a lot of smoke to this fire, and the fact that they had a dinner with Baker Mayfield last night might not be a huge news, but the fact that it was a lengthy dinner and that people at the restaurant that I've heard of, sources, that this thing is legit. There was a lot of love in the air, and, you know, Baker Mayfield, when this thing started with mock draft season and the end of it, was talked about as a late first, early second round pick. And now this is the number 3 overall pick, a pick that they traded 3 second-round picks to move up to. They're actually entertaining this. That is news. Baker Mayfield has not been discussed as a number 3 overall selection. That's a big deal.
He was discussed on our show as a number 3 overall selection. Do we have the footage of the mock draft we did?
I hope so.
NFL Films. Can we roll that? Do we have that? Mr. Miyagi McCagnon. All right, here it is. I picked Mayfield when we did our mock draft. I love this fit. I want to know how you guys feel about it. I think it's a perfect fit as far as an exciting player, a superstar. The Jets haven't had one in a really long time. He's the most accurate quarterback of all of them, and he can lead a young, scrappy team. I'm into this.
It's
Give
incredible.
me a headband, New York.
Baker's son, right?
Yes.
Peter, you nailed it. Like the fact he's been an incredible riser. Like, I always look at this like these pre-draft moments for these guys. They're like campaigns. He's run an incredible campaign. Says the right things, hit the right spots. I do like it because I saw this news come out last night about the dinner and everything, and so many of the mentions, the replies on Twitter, they're still talking about the guy's stupid height. And I'm so sick of hearing about that. He is officially listed now at 6'1". Aaron Rodgers is 6'2". Jimmy Garoppolo is 6'2". So the idea that he's an inch shorter than the greatest player, it's idiotic. It's like you're clinging to straws. Yeah, but he's short. Shut up about the stupid height, because he's not that short. And even if he was, I don't care. I'm a big Baker guy. I think he's running an amazing campaign.
And I think to your point, if there's any quarterback in this draft that I think can handle the bright lights, the New York media, he won a Heisman, he played some big games, and when you look at last season, when the Browns chose to pass upon Deshaun Watson over Deshaun Kaiser, a lot of the things about Deshaun Watson was the fact that he played in the big games. He had the pedigree.
Yep.
He came from a big university where he had the experience that was needed. And like you said, Baker Mayfield is one of the most accurate quarterbacks out of all the QBs in this draft. And you need a guy that's accurate in that division. If you want to be able to compete with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, you have to have a quarterback that is accurate.
All right, you played in L.A. as a college kid. You played in New Orleans. You've bounced around the league a little bit. You've been to Miami. Are we making too much out of, like, the New York market? I mean, he's going to be living in Florham Park or Montclair, New Jersey. It's not like he's living in Times Square. What do you make of the whole media thing and whether that even comes to play when you're playing? I mean, Chad Pennington wasn't a huge, playboy either.
In West Virginia.
Yes.
I'll give you one example, right? Like, we've been talking about the Yankees and how Stanton was already getting booed.
Sure, yeah.
After just, striking out a couple of times. The New York media and the fans are tough here. It's not an easy place to just come in and throw a couple of interceptions and be okay. Like, no, they're going to let you know about it. They're going to let you have it.
I hear that, man.
So, and that's why I say the most accurate QB out of all these QBs in the draft that's what the Jets need right now. They need a guy that can throw the ball on time and then also be able to compete. And we know he's an extremely competitive quarterback, so you need that.
We're also talking about, knocking holes in him or trying to find faults in these little minutiae that everybody's digging into.
Yeah.
The comparisons, lazy comparisons to Johnny Manziel have existed out there. You think that might be a good thing?
I think it might be a good thing because I think, for one, he's heard these comparisons so much and he's even talked about it, that he thinks it's unfair. And so he's going to be doing everything he can to try to prove us and everybody else wrong, that he is not that person. He is not that persona, and that he's completely different. He's changed, and he's ready to take it to the next level.
I love that take.